everybody, how you doing? Woo! Welcome to PHLY Flyers Postgame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. That's Philadelphia's #1 beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. We got to talk about Matvei. I cannot believe what Michkov has done. And if you want to celebrate, there's no better way to celebrate than with a MICHKOVMANIA shirt or maybe a Mad Russian hoodie. Whatever it is, you can get it right now. 30% off for our Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever weekend. It's go online shopping, buy some merch to celebrate this win. 30% off. Store.allcitynetwork.com right now. Look at the selection, the Mad Russian stuff, the MICHKOVMANIA. You got to celebrate, Chuck, because, my God, I thought, the setup to the Owen Tippett goal to open the scoring tonight
was good enough play.
That was fine.
Fantastic pass.
Okay, he made
Truly.
his one play that made us all go, oh, yeah, that guy's special. Yeah. And then in overtime, because, of course, the game goes to overtime, he scores on a breakaway against Jordan Binnington, who looked like the Jordan Binnington who came into Philly in his first career start and shut them out en route to a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. He was on fire tonight, but Mish beat him in overtime for his third OT winner of the season, tying him for the teenage record with Sidney Crosby, with Ilya Kovalchuk, and with Rick Nash. I'll take any of those guys.
Yeah. Rick Nash is the floor for Matvei Michkov now? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's just the way it is. And I think for the rookie record, just like in your rookie year, I believe it's 4, Cole Caulfield and Shane Gostisbehere. Neither were teenagers.
Well, obviously, yeah. Shane was older.
was like 22.
Yeah.
And Cole's was because he had 2 in like the 10 games he got called up.
Okay.
And then 2 in his like full rookie year.
Okay, gotcha.
And those are the 2 guys with the most OT winners as rookies.
Here's the intriguing part of this. So the stat is that there are now 4 players who have scored 3 overtime game winners. I guess there is no other type of overtime goal. They're all game winners while they were teenagers. So Michkov now has 3. Okay. He turns 20 on December 9th. We have 3 more opportunities for a game to go to overtime and Michkov to get his 4th overtime game winner to be the only player to have 4 overtime game winners as a teenager. We're running out of time, but this Flyers team, like every single game basically goes into overtime, so I can't rule out the possibility.
This
truly cannot.
Their 8th overtime game in their last 12. 10 overtime games overall this season.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
8 in the month of November, 8 and 14.
Absolutely insane. And yeah, they have Florida on the 5th, Boston on the 7th, and then the eve of his birthday, home against Utah on the 8th. Mish just crushing a bunch of, honestly, like a bunch of narratives. One, I started, like the back-to-back. He hasn't been great in short turnarounds between games. This wasn't maybe your like traditional back-to-back. They played at 1 yesterday. They're at 7.
Still with travel.
But it's still,
it was a 3 and 4.
They had to travel. It's a 3 and 4. He looked a little, I mean, the whole line was bad yesterday. Tippett, Frost, and Mish. We talked in post-game like,
I thought it was more.
This
Tippett
is kind of an Owen Tippett
Frost.
problem,
with
a little bit of Morgan Frost.
Yeah, I didn't think Michkov was bad on Friday. I thought his 2 line mates were bad.
But in the second game of a back-to-back, he comes out just a nice little 2-point performance, including an OT winner,
including the game winner.
I'm almost like worried because we're so used to no one living up to the hype. Like someone just said to me, like, well, how good would they be if this player and this player lived up? I'm like, you can say that about basically every draft pick since 2012. Yeah. What if they were as good as we hoped they were going to be? Yeah. Well, then we'd want to have won a Stanley Cup by now, honestly. And like, Misha's this good and he's this good right away. And we're watching every game. Listen, he's scoring. He's phenomenal. He's nowhere close to a complete player.
No, he has much more things he can improve upon to make himself a better all-around player. But the one thing he has already is this flair for the dramatic. It just seems like, and the article I wrote last Saturday after the last overtime game winner he scored was more a thought piece on the last 10 plus years of Flyers history, and the fact that it just seemed like every time the Flyers had the opportunity to step up, they would always shrink from the moment. And I'm certainly not the person who's going to be like, oh, it's all Claude Giroux's fault, bad captain, or like those guys. But for whatever reason,
for some reason, that team, it went wrong.
It always seemed to go wrong whenever the most eyes were. And I'm not saying that a lot of people watched this game.
No,
probably not. But it was in overtime. And it's getting to the point where, and it's crazy we're saying this about a 19-year-old, but it's getting to the point where you expect that Michkov is going to come through in these moments. And, you know, honestly, hilariously enough, like the last guy I can remember that I thought about that with the Flyers was Danny Briere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that was a playoff thing, especially like, yeah, we need a goal in the third, man. It's like, oh, he's going to put home a rebound.
Yeah.
And he would.
Yeah.
It's very, very, and like, while I bet, like, no, I'm sure this wasn't like the most watched game of the season. I bet you a lot of casual eyes tonight. Big get together night, like Saturday, holiday season.
Yeah, people are home.
People just have it on.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there was some casual eyes tonight, and maybe you want to get them hooked. Get some Michkov stuff, store.allcitynetwork.com. No, I really like that piece you wrote, because like even G, who we are both huge fans of, for whatever reason, like the playoffs would come and those teams would falter, and you'd look at his stat line at the end and be like, that could have been better.
Yeah.
But like we joke all the time, it was a few years ago now, but like that Halloween game against Pittsburgh, Flyers out to a great start. Let's tune in. This is going to be a big one. National TV, 7-0.
Yeah.
Crushed.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, yeah, you told me to watch this team? Like, no, that wasn't me.
They would do that all the time.
It was a regular thing.
Every single time. The Ed Snyder game, it's like, oh, they're coming back home. You know, then they make the playoffs.
They score right away. It's crazy in there.
Crazy, going crazy. Then they get blown out. The bracelets are everywhere. I'm thinking back to, game 82. Claude Giroux scores the hat trick to get into the playoffs. They're playing the Penguins. It's like, hell yeah, this team.
Here we go.
And then they lose 7-0 in game one.
Yeah.
Like, these are just the things that always happen. And then every time you be like, oh, maybe I'm going to get back in. Nope, we're going to be loosey with the football again. And this kid, for whatever reason, and like it wasn't even just that the play was him. Like Travis Konecny made an incredible play on that goal.
Amazing play to set it up.
Yes, but how many times has Travis Konecny in his career made an incredible play to set up a teammate who then shoots wide or hits the post or shoots it right into the goalie's chest?
How many breakaways and odd man rushes did the Flyers not score on tonight?
Yeah.
How many empty nets did they not score?
That's a fair point. That's a very fair point.
It's just very, very exciting to have a player who, and like, yeah, the details and the two-way play and all that stuff. I was joking with Charlie, like, I really want Mish to spend the whole summer like in a power skating camp. I thought he was getting caught on that breakaway.
Yeah.
I thought he was getting caught, but like, he's not even his fully formed, and he's an offensive genius, as you've called him.
Yeah.
He's not even his fully formed self there yet.
Yeah.
Like you see stuff, it wasn't there tonight. Like there's the defenseman, he pulls the Michigan, he gets rocked. Now, it was a roughing or an elbow or something.
Yeah,
probably.
He was bleeding a little bit above his lip, to be sure. Probably could have called something.
There don't appear to be rules on that play.
No.
Like if the defenseman breaks your stick, it's not slashing.
Exactly. Like when we were watching the game here, I equated the Michigan to the tush push in football.
It's a very good comparison.
The officials hate so much that it's legal that they're willing to let the defense break every rule to stop it. And it seems like they view the Michigan the same way, where there's all these older hockey people who are like grumbling that they can't call a penalty immediately on it. So, hey, if you want to like literally choke a guy trying to do the Michigan, it's fine. All good.
No, and that's like he'll pick his spots and pull some of that stuff differently as he matures. Like we're talking about a guy who, what is he, 22 games into his career now? 23, I think tonight was.
Yeah, because he's got scratched twice.
Yeah, he got scratched twice.
So 23 games.
Yeah, tonight was game 25.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's game 23. Like three of his first 23 games, he's won in overtime. Yeah. I'm just so elated that he really is living up to the hype. And I know it was like just posturing to try to lower our expectations this summer. Like, listen, he's 19. He's a non-English speaking immigrant in North America for the first time. Yeah. Like, maybe let's pull back the expectations. It was like, they know he's good. Like, there's a reason they went and picked up, but they want the public. If his first week goes by and he doesn't score, they don't want ever, this is the guy. Huh?
And also,
but he's even better than I thought.
One thing about that, too, that I don't think maybe people understood on some level, they just didn't care. One of the big reasons why the Flyers did what they did in the lead up to the season, where they were downplaying him a little bit, they weren't using him in every single marketing material. Not, he would be on the billboard, but with 5 other guys. One of the big reasons
in front.
One of the big reasons why they did that is they didn't want to set up a dynamic from the start of the year where every other player on the team resents him. They wanted it to be the way it is, where it seems like everyone on the team is genuinely happy for the kid because it doesn't feel like he is. And look, they know on some level that all the fans are way more excited to see Matvei Michkov than they are to see even Travis Konechny. But it's the guys further down the line, I'm very interested to see what Tyson Foerster becomes. I like his talent level. But
that's me and you.
Let's be honest here. Most people don't care that much. They only care about the kid. But there was a reason why the Flyers felt like they had to downplay him a little bit. And it wasn't just because Danny's lying to us again. No, it was because there is a team dynamic that they wanted to be accounting for. And the fact that if you put him front and center in every billboard and every interview and everything, you probably are going to have, it's human nature. You're going to have people on that team who otherwise would have been open to this Michkov thing because it's exciting. You have this talented young player. We want to win. Would have been like, hey, I've been in the league for 8 years and I don't get any attention at all. That could have happened. Instead, they did it the way they did it, I believe, because they wanted the team to embrace him in a way that I believe they are. Like, you get the sense, you watch them talking on the bench. I've watched guys talking to him in the locker room after practices and stuff. And it does seem like there's a genuine sense of excitement when the guys are chatting with him. And I wouldn't say that they get a kick out of him. Like, they got a kick out of Yegor Zamul. Yegor Zamul is funny in a kind of a goofy way.
Yeah.
Whereas with Michkov, it just seems like they're just happy he's there, which is really cool. And I do think that part of the reason why they downplayed him a little bit was to cut off at the head the possibility that guys might resent him a little bit.
And that's understandable. I was just, while you were explaining all that, I'm just thinking of the dynamic of the Flyers front office and the common sense stuff that Keith Jones, that we praised him for, but Keith Jones was in a locker room with a team that resented Eric Lindros. Exactly. Yeah. They don't want that to happen again. Listen, Eric Lindros is likely the best player, even if Matvei Michkov goes to the Hall of Fame. Eric Lindros might be the best player we ever watched in this town.
Most talented,
our
possibly,
age.
In terms of the physical tools.
Ask anyone on that 2000 team.
Oh, they still
if he doesn't come back, they think they win the cup.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody on that team hates Eric Lindros, but there are people who were on that team who still actively dislike Eric Lindros.
Yeah, there are some.
There sure are.
John LeClaire thinks it's John LeClaire recognizes oh yeah, man, I scored 50 goals because I played with him. He knows.
The guy was real good, but he helped.
But that locker room, by and large, there was a divide.
Yeah, of course.
And I think of what Keith Jones is here to do. It's so much of it is common sense stuff. It's let's not do that again. Yeah, let's not call him the next one.
Exactly.
What if we don't do that?
Exactly. But by the same token, Keith Jones did, and he was the one person who slipped up. Whether it was intentional or unintentional, probably intentional because it was a team driven production. But during the standard videos, there was one moment. It was on a second or third video where he called him a future superstar, and it was they know. They know.
They ran up to draft him for a reason. Come on. Danny fell in love with this guy when they met him, and we're all falling in love as the season goes. This is a whole lot of fun right now. I know there's a big, just not even 1 and 2 contingents. There's a lot of people, a lot of Flyers fans who are either you don't think they're doing the rebuild right, or Danny should have traded for Yurchek, something that happened today. There's a lot of discontentment with some different areas of the team and the organization.
And maybe
but if you're not enjoying Matvei Michkov, man, this is all we've wanted.
Yeah, and I also think that a lot of that discontentment is isolated to Twitter. And I think I would guess, if I had to guess, I would guess that the vast majority of the overarching group of Flyers fans, not the ones that are on Twitter, but just overall Flyers. I think Flyers fans are pretty excited about everything. I really do.
I think you have to be excited about what Misha's doing. And like, as we said, as a teenager for 3 more games, the emergence of TK and Travis Sanheim. Like, if you've been following this team closely, it's like, well, finally, yeah, this is what we wanted. Thank you, guys. Like, you are high-level players. And if we have a chance, I want to talk a little about Four Nations, because the next time we have a show is Wednesday, the 4th. And that's the day the rosters get announced.
Yeah,
so we'll know the answer.
The U.S. and Canadian teams at night, apparently. Finland and Sweden will be during the day, so we won't know when we do the show.
Okay.
But we'll be able to talk about it. One thing I do also want to say, though, about Michkov, because you mentioned a few minutes ago about the skating, and I do agree with you that it would be great if he could get like a half step quicker. That would be awesome. And he's got the kind of drive and work ethic that I think he will work to get just a little bit quicker. That said, on both the assist and the goal, I think he knew exactly how fast he had to be skating to make sure that they got close, but not close enough.
Yes.
I think that if he had to, he could have skated faster on both of those plays. It's just that he's a supercomputer and he's like, okay, I know that I can go just this slow to weigh my options without having to worry that I'm going to get stripped from behind. So I think that while I agree with you, he could use a little bit more of a burst. I don't know if those 2 plays are good examples of it, because I think he knew exactly how slow he could go.
The assist, especially the way he used his footwork and kind of centered himself.
Yeah.
Because he has the one defender is facing him and another one is chasing the play. And if that backside defender just beelines to the far post to try to take away Tippett, maybe he gets there.
Yeah.
The way Michkov centered himself, it was like, I have to guard, I have to defend the shot.
I can get him. Like, I can
get to him.
I can catch him.
And that allowed the pass to just open right up.
Exactly.
Like, perhaps he was thinking.
And there aren't that many players that I would say I believe he was thinking that far ahead. But Michkov is one of those guys. I do. I do think that, like, on that breakaway, because that guy almost caught him from behind, but on that breakaway, he is thinking in his head, if I try to do this too fast, I won't have as much time to get off the type of move I want to get off. If I go a little bit slower, it just may make the goalie freeze a little bit more, but I know how fast I have to go to make sure that he's not going to check me from behind and break up the play. I think he is intelligent enough in terms of his hockey IQ to know that, honestly, without even having to like specifically think about it. It just comes naturally.
It's a feel.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Not to continue doing the football comparisons, but pocket presence. When you just see the quarterback drop back, and somehow he knows that the blindside defender is about to hit him.
Yeah,
and so he takes off.
Exactly.
Like, it's just that.
Yeah, it's a feel.
That feel, and he has it. I think we have enough anecdotal evidence to be like, no, he is thinking 10 different things at once.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I got to sell you a couple things, starting with, honestly, I don't even think this is a sale. Just telling you about writing. You got to help protect yourself from pneumonia. Adults age 50 and older are now eligible for the pneumonia vaccine. Used to be age 65 and older, but the CDC lowered the age recommendations to 50. So now more people can get this vaccine, because millions of people get pneumonia every year. It's a respiratory illness, and fall and winter are a time when germs that cause respiratory disease typically spread more in the community. So now is the time to get vaccinated and help keep you and yours healthy. And because some people get pneumonia and it's not that big a deal. It's mild symptoms. Others experience serious complications, and the vaccine is one of the best ways to keep yourself healthy, and it's usually no cost with insurance. Getting vaccinated is easy. Just walk into your local Rite Aid or schedule online at riteaid.com. And if you're unsure of what vaccines you might need, just ask your pharmacist for a personal recommendation. Stop by your local Rite Aid today. And so Joel Farabee didn't.
I gotta interrupt. I didn't know if you had to do 2 reads. Or just one.
No, it's Bet365.
Okay, you got another read. Okay,
yeah,
continue.
Joel Farabee may never score again. We bet on him to score tonight. He did not come through.
2 breakaways, 1 shift.
It was I may never win another bet, honestly. But whether I win or lose, I'm betting with Bet365 because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And neither is this freaking team. I've been using it all season for my props, my futures, everything. I've been enjoying it. I think you will too. So download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Yeah, that was... We can get to him later. We can talk about good things right now.
I want to give this little basic tidbit of information because I don't know for sure, but based on the tweet from the Flyers main Twitter account, this is just like a cool little thing. It looks like what happened because obviously they have the championship belt. It looks like whoever had the championship belt after yesterday's game, I honestly do not remember. Probably Fedotov, I'm guessing. My guess. But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That person gave the belt to Michkov, and then Michkov passed it to Kolosov.
That's cool.
So it was like no, I'm not the real hero. It was this guy, which is really cool.
It was Russian rookie night, man. It wasn't just Matvei. And that's a good setup for Aleksei Kolosov because he was really good tonight. They blow the lead.
I thought it was his best game. In the NHL.
They blow the lead through no fault of his own. There's a penalty on Travis Konechny that. Yeah, his stick was in there.
That was a penalty, and
yesterday it doesn't get called.
I understand why fans are angry at that one. I get it, and you're right. It probably isn't a penalty. On some level, I kind of have to tip my cap to Jordan Kyrou because he sold that. That was a veteran style selling of a penalty.
It wasn't over the top. It was just enough. He didn't hook and pull the gloves, but it looked like he did.
I would equate that, the way he drew that, to an expert pitch framer.
Yeah.
Where it's that's a ball, but damn, that catcher did a good job selling it.
His stick was in there, and you can't do that, but it was just a good sell.
Yeah.
But it all works out in the end, even though they do blow the lead. I was really, I think they scored the first goal, St. Louis, with 10 minutes left in the third. Was really hoping he would pick up his first career shutout.
It was close.
But yeah, he had a good chance at it. He some huge saves on odd man rushes, breakaways. We talked about it before the game. One of the biggest differences between now and when they looked like they were going to draft 4th overall, it's the goaltending.
Yeah.
And it's mostly been Fedotov, at least numbers-wise.
Sure.
You look at it and go, yeah, he's really come along. And we've said in the past, I think Kolosov's playing better than his numbers, but you look at him and go, okay, he's still giving up 3 a game, 4 a game. Tonight, he was excellent.
Yeah, he was great. And, I mean, he makes so many good saves, really. So many good saves in this game. You're going back. The second period, there was a run. He makes a save on a breakaway on Matthew Joseph. Shorthanded save on Braden Shen. He has a 2-on-1 save on Torpachenko, which I love because it wasn't just that he made the save. It's a shot from an angle with another guy coming down the other wing. And not only does he make the stop with his blocker, he does an incredible job of shooing that puck completely out of danger for a rebound. That's the kind of play where they're shooting. Yes, he's shooting to score. He's shooting, to the far post. But he's also shooting for the possibility of a rebound going right to his teammate. And Kolosov does a great job of just batting that puck all the way to the boards, out of danger. That was an incredible sequence where he has those 3 saves kind of I think it was about in a 5 or 6 minute span in the second period. He makes an incredible save on what was the game tying goal. That was a great lunging save across.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that then the puck is there, no one clears it, and finally they put it in. No, Kolosov, there's a world where Kolosov gets a shutout in this game because he was really, really good. And you are getting to a point now where it's legitimately curious as to what they're going to do. Because I still do believe that right now, Sam Ersson is the best goalie they have on their NHL roster. Obviously, he's injured. Flyers don't play for 4 games or 4 days. So I could certainly see a world where after these 4 days, he will be good to go. I think they have been taking it easy with him. They've been careful because
he was day-to-day 2 weeks ago.
It was a recurrence of a previous injury, and I think their view of it, I believe it's a groin, is last time maybe we rushed you back a little bit. We don't have to rush you back because these goalies are playing pretty well in your absence, so we don't have to like speed up your recovery. Why don't we give you extra time so that when you're back for good? He's not that far away. When he comes back, Fedotov deserves to be here. He's playing really good hockey. And now you're like, Kolosov kind of deserves to be here too. So I don't love a 3-goalie thing, but none of these guys deserve to not be here.
It is like, I don't have the biggest problem if you're able to somehow get all 3 of them starts.
That's the problem.
The issue to me is more like, how do you keep them all fresh? How do you, like, if 2 of them have good games, like, okay, now game 3, we're going to go to some other guy. Yeah. There's only 2 nets in practice.
Yeah.
Like,
that's something
like,
that's an underrated big thing. Brian Boucher, because Bouch, luckily, like him and JJ come down to practice sometimes and watch practice in the media room. And Bouch has said that on multiple occasions. He's probably said it on broadcast too, that it's hard when you have 3 healthy goalies because even in practice, you want the work. And if you have to rotate in a 3rd goalie, that means at all times, 1 goalie is doing nothing, is just standing on the corner because you can't have 3 nets. The rink just isn't built that way. And you just don't get as good of a practice if you're constantly rotating guys in between the 2 nets. So it's tough. It's tough to have 3 goalies, but they're just in a situation now where all 3 deserve to be here.
I'm very interested to see how they handle it, especially considering what we believe is going to happen with Kolosov.
Yeah, we believe he's likely to, at least they are worried that if they try to send him down to the AHL, that he will say, all right, peace, I'm going back home.
It's not a right now thing. That's we're gonna need a second belt. That's dope.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We're gonna need a 3rd one. Send it this way. I really want one of these. I want one of these so bad. They're like $600 though. Ava will kill me.
Are they that expensive?
Oh yeah.
I mean, can you get cheaper ones that are just plastic?
I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
I'm bougie, Charlie.
Yeah, you scream bougie, Bill.
I've actually been saying on the shows you haven't been on, people have to buy Black Friday stuff to keep Charlie in diamonds and furs. It's not a right now thing, definitely, but because we've been asked this question, I've seen you asked it on Twitter. I have been asked it as well. Would you ever consider trading Sam Ersson?
I wouldn't, because to me, he is still the surest thing. Like, to be honest, if anything, I would probably consider trading Fedotov.
Yes.
Because he's the oldest, and he's showing he's an NHL caliber goalie. With all of the young guys they have in the system, it's hard to see where he fits if these guys are all good.
He just turned 28.
Yeah.
Like, he's signed through next year. It's like, well, what do we do? Extend him?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and I mean, yeah, this team might because they seem to hand out a lot of extensions, but it doesn't make a ton of sense. I have always said, like, my goal with Fedotov is to get him to the 2026 trade deadline and be like, who needs a goalie?
Who needs a goalie?
But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
I would not
in the short and long term.
I would not trade Ersson because I am confident that Ersson is at least a tandem goalie in the NHL, and I just don't want to give that up because, well, like, we have to get Fedotov time. Like, do you? And he's been good. This is not me crapping on Ivan Fedotov. He's done a really good job turning his season around. He looks like an NHL caliber goalie. It's just that he's the guy who's the hardest to look 3-4 years down the road and see a world where he's an essential part of this team.
The argument is, at least the one I've seen that makes the most sense, is also like Sam Ersson is the one that gets you the best return. And with Bjarnason and Zavragin, it's like, dude, any of these guys actually, like, what's our timeline here? And that's a question we don't actually know, and I don't know if they actually know it either. See how the drafts go, see what trades are possible. I find it, my initial reaction is like, no, you don't trade. Yeah, and then we're going to need a goalie.
Yeah.
And how long have we been looking for a goalie? He's at least serviceable.
And also,
he's at least
there's
good.
An element, too, with Ersson where, like, I don't think he's going to bring back what the people who are asking should they trade Ersson think he would bring back. I think he's a guy, like, I think there are teams around the league that would like to have him. nobody's given up a first-round pick for Sam Ersson. The Flyers probably think the highest of Sam Ersson than anybody because they love his mental makeup so much because they see him and deal with him every day. That's why they're so high on him. Look, there are teams out there that would trade a mid-round pick for him, probably. But at that point, it's like, well, you might as well just keep him. If there was a team out there that's willing to give up a first-round pick or a quality top 6 center for Sam Ersson, sure, I'll pack his bags. That's fair. I just don't think that kind of trade's out there. I don't think anybody around the league views Sam Ersson probably not even as high as the Flyers do.
I would be surprised if anyone's like, oh, I mean, yeah, there are teams in a pinch. Like we just saw Colorado trade for Scott Wedgwood.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure a team in a pinch would be like, we'll give you something, just give me a goalie.
Yeah.
But like that's not
they
why
could
you
trade Sam Ersson if they wanted to. It's just if you are thinking, well, you could trade Sam Ersson and get something real good, I don't think that trade is available.
I don't know if that actually exists. It's just I'm the voice of the people, Charlie, and I'll be wrong as the people. But yeah, my initial reaction is like, no, you don't do that. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a reason. I don't think it's worth it.
If there's a world where you could get a crazy return back for
sure.
I'm not wedded to anybody on this team aside from Michkov in the sense of like you can't trade him. Anybody else, like, sure, if the offer's good enough,
absolutely,
as long as there's no like trade protection or whatever, which for quite a few of these guys there are, so you just can't trade them, like Couturier, Sanheim, Konechny. But like everybody else who is theoretically tradable, whose name is not Matvei Michkov, sure, in the right deal, you got to make them available. I just don't see a world where Ersson brings back something that people would think is worthwhile to trade him.
All right. I want to talk about a couple of guys who showed up in the score sheet and badly needed it tonight. The first is the guy who scored off that nice feed from Matvei Michkov, Owen Tippett, his first goal since the Colorado game. His second goal since the Tampa game. It's been a tough stretch for a guy whose thing is scoring.
And
like,
he's looked bad in some of those games. Like legitimately bad.
Early in the year, the first month or so, I'm sitting there like, listen, no, the puck isn't going in. But he's doing everything. And it's just, sometimes that happens.
It's Joel Farabee.
Yeah. He's had that little disappearing act recently. I'm not going to say he had the best game tonight. He finished a really nice play by Michkov. He created a rush or two of his own. That was nice to see.
He had some moments.
He had some moments.
It was much better than yesterday when I thought he was acting.
When he's the reason the second best player in the team gets benched because his line is so bad. It was considerably better, especially like the team played so well. It's like, but how? How did you play that bad? First of all, the Rangers were trying to give you the game.
They're a mess right now.
They're bad. But like it's really just good to see him get back on the scoreboard because we know one goal for him can change everything. There have been times we've thought that with him this year and it hasn't quite got going. But every time is an opportunity. Maybe this is the beginning with Mish kind of picking it up. Maybe that's a combo that can start working a little better together.
I mean, maybe, but also that was like the easiest goal he could have ever possibly scored.
Sometimes you just need one of those, man. I don't know. I'm just trying to find something here with Owen Tippett because he's been so disappointing this season. And like, I think I know what Owen Tippett is. So like a bad year doesn't change my
I agree with that
idea of like, oh yeah, man, like second line winger, sure.
Next he could score 21 goals this year and it'd be a major disappointment.
Have 30
and then next year he scores 38.
Yeah,
like it could happen.
That's goal scorers are streaky. He's never had the highest shooting percentage. That was something I really wanted to see come up this year. It's gone the other way. Maybe this is the start of the turnaround. But a guy who's made plays now in consecutive games, Tyson Foerster. Gives them the lead back basically right away, cleaning up the Bobby Brink play.
Yep.
Brink pays him back for that awesome play to set him up yesterday.
I didn't even think about that, but that's a good point.
Brink made a great play to set up that goal tonight. He gets everything, and then we get the Bush save, and Bush refers to someone else for his signature save.
Well, he knew.
I know.
Bush was just trying to be modest, and luckily JJ came in. It's like, no, that was your save. It was your save. It was your save against the Devils.
I don't think Dominic Hasek, the guy with Hart trophies out the wazoo and a couple of cups, like he needs any more accolades. Yeah. Let's give it to Brian. But anyway,
also Bush's save was better because Bush
the
actually
helmet popped.
Not only that, Bush actually made the save. Brink put the puck off the post, and then it hit Binnington on the way back. And then, so he will get credit, I believe, for a save because he did stop the puck, but Brink hit the post first, whereas Bush actually stopped that Patrick Elliott
shot. And of course, Foerster cleans up the rebound.
Exactly.
But like Foerster yesterday against the Rangers, blocks the shot, really works his ass off to get the puck down the ice because he's another one. It's like, not the fleetest of foot,
the fastest,
but he really got down there and he sends that perfect pass to Brink in the slot. Brink pays him back with he creates everything, but Foerster cleans it up tonight. Really happy to see that with Tyson Foerster because that's now let's see, 3 goals and 5 points in his last 8 games. That's what we need. Tyson Foerster on the scoreboard. Like that is clearly not as important as Michkov or like maybe Andre now. Young guys taking this step to fill holes that we thought were gigantic. But like Tyson Foerster's a first-round pick who the team really believes in.
Yeah.
He may or may not have been one of the names that came up in the Columbus discussions, and they're like, nah, we like Tyson Foerster a lot. I don't know that, but it's possible. I loved what I got out of Tyson Foerster last season. I need more of this, Charlie.
It's totally fair. And I think it's worth noting, because my big concern about Foerster, even more so than the lack of offense, which at some point he needs to score because that's how he's going to be a real valuable player, is if he's doing all of the little things right and scoring 30 goals a year. That's how he becomes really exciting. But my big concern with him in the first 5 weeks of the year, I guess I would say, was he wasn't doing the little things right either. That was my big concern because it's like, well, you got to do those things for the scoring even matter because otherwise you're just a mediocre player or even worse than that. Well, recently the little things have come back. The numbers have even come back. I'm looking at his last 8 games at 5-on-5. He has a 54.36% expected goals rate. When he's been on the ice in terms of actual goals rate, 70.14%. So over the last, let's say, 3 weeks, it seems like the details are coming back. I don't know what the heck happened to him the first month of the year. Maybe, he just wasn't feeling good. Who knows? But it does seem like the 5-on-5 results overall have already started to turn in his favor. And now if you add the scoring back into that, maybe come the end of January, we'll just be thinking about, well, remember when Tyson Foerster had that real bad October and then the rest of the year was exactly what we thought he was going to be? That might be the way this is trending. And that's huge because, look, Matvei Michkov being this good this early and showing that he has an even higher ceiling that he's yet to get to is clearly the most exciting thing about this team. Things like Travis Konechny looking like he is legitimately a guy who probably his point totals were deflated because he didn't have help, and now he's got Michkov, so now he's a clear point per game guy. That's exciting. That's a big deal. Travis Sanheim taking a big step forward to being, I think, a clear-cut top pair defenseman. I don't know if he's a number one, but I think he's a clear-cut top pair defenseman if he keeps playing this way. You're still going to need more. You're going to need more talent. This team right now, they need more talent. You saw they had 1 goal despite all of the scoring chances because they need more talent. But Tyson Foerster is one of those guys where is he the best player on a good team even at his peak? I cannot imagine a scenario where that's the case. But could he become a guy who can be the 3rd or 4th best player on a really good team? I think that is a plausible ceiling, and him getting back on track developmentally is a big deal for that because that's one less guy you have to go out and trade for, one less guy you have to still draft. If he becomes that 30-goal, 65, 70-point play-driving winger who's in your top 6 and is just real, real good and kills it by underlying metrics, suddenly that's a big piece. And they need a lot of big pieces if they want to be able to build a legitimate contender around Matvei Michkov.
One of those pieces that I just for a little while assumed oh, yeah, this guy's going to be a part of it. Joel Farabee.
He's getting chances.
3 more shots on goal tonight. Does not find the back of the net.
2 breakaways on 1 shift, Bill.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Not 1.
In his last 14 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. Has not scored a goal in 10 games. It's just I know you're doing things right, but at what point is it? That's not enough.
Yeah,
I really we're talking about the first 25 games of the season. There's a lot of season left, but it's not as if that's not a sizable chunk of the year.
Yeah, it is.
And there's been speculation about Farabee in a trade. You don't know how real it is, or if it's just people like, oh, I bet maybe you could get something back for him. Like, but
he did make it on Frank Saravalli's
He keeps showing up on trade lists and things like that. We know it's mostly right wingers, but they just have a ton of wingers. Yeah. He is a lefty, but they have so many of these guys. Someone's going to get traded at some point. Whether it's him or they want to keep him because they think he's good, like, he needs to have more value than he has right now. Creating scoring chances is great. Eventually, you have to score, or what are these chances? He's just, on one hand, I feel for him, and on the other hand, I'm frustrated because I'm like, you're doing stuff right. It's 19 shots in his last 5 games now. Like, that's real good.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
But 1 or 2 have to go in.
Yeah, and the difference for me between Farabee and Foerster is if Foerster keeps doing what he's doing, and I'm not talking about the scoring, I'm talking about the details. I'm talking about the two-way play. He's a guy who I can accept not scoring or going through some slumps, because when he's on the ice, the Flyers are out chancing, out shooting, and outscoring the opposition, even if he's not the one getting the goals or putting up the points. I can accept that. That's the kind of player I think Tyson Foerster is, and the type of player I think he's going to be. Joel Farabee, on the other hand, is not that guy. He is not a two-way play driver. I'm looking, I said over the last 8 games, Tyson Foerster around a 54% expected goal rate. Over those same 8 games, Joel Farabee is at 48.66. It's not awful, but it's not like when he's on the ice, the Flyers are carrying play to a strong degree, the way that I think they will do with Tyson Foerster in terms of what he actually brings to the table from a true talent standpoint. Joel Farabee has not in his career, and still is not right now, even though he's creating all these chances, he's not driving play. The Flyers are not controlling the territorial battle when he's on the ice. And if he's not going to do that, then he's got to score. And yes, he's creating the chances. And yes, I do believe that if he keeps this process going the way it's going, the goals will ultimately come. But they're not coming. And he's not bringing anything else to the table from a two-way standpoint, and he hasn't for pretty much his entire career. He is a scorer. He is a scoring winger. And I think he could be a darn good one. But to be a darn good scoring winger, you have to score. And right now, he's not. I don't think he has a finishing problem in terms of true talent level. He has a career 12.6, I believe, % shooting percentage. League average is like 10.
Totally acceptable.
He's above league average in terms of shooting percentage. This is a new problem. And all I can say is that he's snake bitten. The problem is that how long can you stay snake bitten before the process falls off? That remains my worry. Like, how much longer can he keep doing all these good things and not get rewarded for them before he just starts running around, losing structure and trying to cheat and do all those things, and then suddenly he's a total liability and he's still not scoring? That's my worry.
It's just, what do you think he is? Like, you have always been a supporter of Joel Farabee. Where do you think he fits in a good team's lineup?
Well, I think in an ideal world, he is a really good second line winger with a really good center. I think that is his ideal spot. You know, whether that's on the first line, the second line, maybe you bounce him back and forth. If he hits his ceiling, I think he is like a, maybe like a 30, 35 kind of guy, where that's where you count on him every year. He's clearly not that yet. That's obvious. I do still think that's his ceiling. Is it going to happen here? I believe it was, I think it was Anthony DeMarco who reported this, and it makes a lot of sense that the general consensus from other teams about Joel Farabee is that he's a guy that really gets hurt in Philly because of the center problem. And I think that is probably true. That if he joined a team, like if he joined, I mean, I know this is hard because obviously they're great, but like if he joined Tampa, where it's like, oh, well, you can play with Braden Point. Or like, if you're not playing with Braden Point, you're playing with Steven Stamkos. And if you're not playing with Steven Stamkos, you're playing with Nikita Kucherov. On those teams, he would be great. He would be a 60, 65, 70-point guy. On a team where your best centers are Sean Couturier, who's probably going to finish with like 50 points, and Morgan Frost, who goes from being awful to being great to being awful again, it probably hurts him. Now, that's not an excuse because he's getting all these chances and he's not scoring. But I believe the general league consensus is that he's a guy who would benefit from being on a team where he can be a support guy to the high-end talent rather than being someone who you have to depend upon to be the high-end talent.
And that makes sense when you talk about, well, he's not a play driver. He's more of a finisher. Oh, well, someone else has to do that stuff.
Right.
That's typically a center.
Right. Typically.
They don't have any.
That's the tough part.
That's a difficult thing. All right, I'm going to get these reads in and then do 3 stars, and I think we have some super chats, and we'll do some other stuff too.
Yeah,
this is our last show till Wednesday. All right, first thing I got to tell you about, it's TrueMark Financial Credit Union. I know my setup was like, what was I doing? When I hear Bryn laughing, she's just like, that wasn't, how am I supposed to know? I don't know. We all know how hard it is to win without proper coaching. If you've got kids, TrueMark has the ultimate playbook for teaching financial responsibility with a free Greenlight account. The Greenlight app is changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to earn, save, and spend wisely. They can set up savings goals, track their spending, and even get an allowance all right there in the Greenlight app. And here's the really cool part. Kids get their own debit card so they can make purchases and learn real-world money skills while you stay in control from your phone. You get peace of mind, and they get the freedom to make smart decisions with their money. It's like coaching your kids through their very own financial game. And for TrueMark Financial members, it's free. That's right. With the holidays right around the corner, now is the perfect time to introduce your kids to Greenlight. Get signed up today. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information. While we're here, I think maybe we could all use an ice cold Coors Light because we could all chill just a bit. The Flyers have won 3 in a row. Michkov is going to win the Calder. It's all good. Let's celebrate it with an ice cold Coors Light. For once, this team, they're not driving me nuts. So I want to find the Blue Mountains in my fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies. Because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team isn't on fire, well, why not celebrate and choose to chill? Make the most out of times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door or find a store near you by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, Charlie, let's hit 3 stars now. Let's see Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game for this overtime win against the Blues, starting with star number 3.
Yeah, star number 3, I'm going to give St. Louis 1. Jordan Binnington was great.
He was awesome.
He was really, really good. Yes, the Flyers have problems finishing on chances. They do. That is absolutely accurate. However, Jordan Binnington made some really, really good saves. Now, part of this, as a frustrated Flyers fan, you could say, well, the Flyers make every goalie look good. True. Jordan Binnington, though, was actually good in this game.
Like
he was actually very, very good.
Like he gave up as many in regulation as Igor Shesterkin, who played awesome yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the Flyers are having trouble finishing, but like Shesterkin, pretty good, right? Like one of the best goalies in the league, you know?
Pretty solid.
Binnington kind of matched that performance today. A lot of odd man rushes, a lot of breakaways, and he was really good.
Yeah, Flyers
couldn't stop Mish, though.
Could have easily scored, 4 or 5 goals. Sean Couturier is going to have that one in his nightmares. That's one where I will say, like, look, could Couturier have done something different on that play? Yeah, of course he could have. However, given his handedness and the angle, it was tough not to shoot that puck where he shot it. Could he have just, essentially like passed it across the goal line? That probably would have worked. Yeah. But you can't really risk it that much higher given how close he was. And given the handedness and the angle, I don't know if he really realistically coming at the speed he was coming at. I don't know if he realistically could have went even shorter side than he did. It was an amazing save by Binnington. Yeah. I'm sure Couturier is going to walk through in his head all the things he could have done differently, but it looked worse on replay than it actually is from a difficulty standpoint.
He needs to either dunk it or pop it, and I don't know if he could have done. Yeah. Like, it was just kind of, this is a tap-in, and suddenly it wasn't. But Binnington amazing save there. Yeah. Had a really good game. 3rd star of the game. Star number 2,
Aleksei Kolosov. I thought this was his best game as an NHL goalie. So many good saves, had that great stretch in the second period, made some really big stops in the third period as well. I know he gives up 2 goals. The first one is maybe the only one where you're like, well, he could have stopped it. it was a real good shot from a really prime scoring area, and he had made a bunch of really good saves leading up to it. So not going to really rip him for that one. The second goal, like, he makes an incredible stop 2 seconds before the goal.
Yes.
Nothing he could do there. There's very many alternate universes where he finishes this game with a shutout. Great performance by Aleksei Kolosov, and I have long been a just send him back to the AHL guy. This is the first game where I came away thinking Flyers have some tough choices on hand in terms of goaltending decisions once Sam Ersson is healthy, because Aleksei Kolosov now, I don't know if he's outplaying Ivan Fedotov, but he's playing well enough to stay. And that's why it's going to be a tough call when they have to make one.
It is both an interesting short and long-term situation with these goalies. Finally, I really, really have no idea who this could possibly be. Star number one.
Believe it is one Matvei Michkov.
Oh, yeah, him.
That guy. Yeah, Michkov's number one star. Overtime game winner, third in his NHL career, third as a teenager, third this month. It's bonkers how this kid keeps doing what he's doing. Not only does he get the goal, he has an incredible pass on the first goal. Like, that is an Owen Tippett goal. No, that is a Matvei Michkov goal. That is Owen Tippett goal presented by Matvei Michkov.
Yes, yeah. Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
Exactly.
No, that's you put it in and immediately just point at the guy.
Exactly.
Be like, thanks.
Yeah, that was
Thank
yours.
you.
You just needed someone to put their stick on the ice.
You
and
just needed to be a warm body here, and I was that guy.
Exactly.
It was perfect.
No, Michkov, the clear number one star of this game. I love the fact that it appears he passed along
that's cool.
the belt to Kolosov. However, Matvei, we can say on the show, you were the number one star in this game.
100%.
Easily. And I'm just excited to see what he's going to do next, man.
Celebrate tonight's first star of the game by going to store.allcitynetwork.com. Get yourself some Michkov gear. We have the MICHKOVMANIA tee. We have Mad Russian hoodies and t-shirts, all available, and they're 30% off right now. Go get yourself some Michkov gear. It makes a perfect gift for the Flyers fan in your life, or get yourself something. You earned it. You've been following this team for how long, wanting this guy, and he's here and he's ours. No, it's amazing.
It's the perfect time to
we call that the Charlie shirt.
The Charlie shirt.
Yeah, that's you.
It's the perfect time to do one of those classic holiday maneuvers where you buy it for yourself and give it to someone else to give to you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you don't know what to get? Here, just give me however much money this was, and then pretend that you bought this for me.
Just get two and get one for you, get one for a friend. Yeah, we have plenty of other stuff too. I just found out we have like pint glasses and stuff.
Yeah, they're new.
That's sick.
That's new. But one more
Flyers gear.
One more thing before we get to the end of the show, because I think we're getting closer. We're at 98 likes. Let's get to 100, guys.
Come on. Get us to 100.
Two more.
Let's get it to 100. Yeah, let's do super chats now and do some other stuff if the's time at the end. Let's start. Vince leading it off with the why not us tonight.
Yeah, Vince.
Sure. You know what?
Sure.
With Michkov, all things are possible.
Also, like, given the fact that the Sixers, although they did play well tonight, the fact that the Sixers certainly don't look like a playoff team, Flyers might have to pick up the slack this year for the final year of the Wells Fargo Center.
Is it going to stay Wells Fargo Center through the end of the season?
I believe it changes over, I think, in like June.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
Theoretically, if they made the Stanley Cup final, it would still be the Wells Fargo Center until both of their seasons are done.
Got to break the curse.
You never know.
All right. The next one from JH. Might the Flyers never lose again? You know, it's funny because, like, the question I have in the outline is, will Joel Farabee ever score again? But listen, that's 3 in a row for the Flyers. I think it's 4 out of 5. They're playing good hockey right now. Yeah, like some games they may have gotten a little lucky here and there, but for the most part,
the Nashville game, the Ottawa game,
the Ottawa game was purely the other goalie. I don't know, blinded by something. Yeah. He had acid thrown in his face or something.
It was real bad.
But like the Nashville game, they didn't play well, but they played hard enough to keep it close. Yeah. And that's what you have to do.
And they're playing against a team that is finding ways to lose.
Yes, and that's also, like, Nashville is in last place. Yeah. Like, so
yeah,
it happens.
There you go.
Yeah. But maybe they will never lose again, JH.
They're going to keep this winning streak at least for another 4 days because they don't play a game for 4 days. So
they can't possibly lose for the next 4 days. From the name I can't say, W. Boro Goal. Feel sorry for tanksters who can't enjoy these wins. Listen, there is like always the voice in my head, like, this isn't the way to do this. But you kind of just have to make your peace with it because they're not going to do what you want them to do. And it did look as if, well, it's not going to be up to them because the goalies are so bad. The goalies have, at least for now, figured it out. So that's not stopping them. Like you always said, the easiest way to stealth tank is just put in horrible goalies. You can have anyone else on the ice, but if your goalies are bad, you're going to lose.
You're going to lose a lot of games.
And that's what was happening with the Flyers. And also, they were playing horrible. Yeah. And they've all kind of come together at the same time.
Yeah, and I think the big thing, too, and this was always my view of this season, because, the Flyers could absolutely benefit from having a top 5 pick and getting that potential 1C solution. Of course they could. However, if they become a bubble playoff team, even maybe make the playoffs, because of young guys driving the bus, that is a good thing. The analysis I did in mid-October when I was talking about why they were playing so poorly was basically making the point that, they didn't have anybody who was solidifying the second pair. Their backup goalie stunk, things like that. Sean Couturier looked like he was cooked. Well, Sean Couturier now looks like, he might be overpaid, but he's solid. He looks like he is not the guy from the final third of the year. That's good for the health of the rebuild because you don't have a guy with a $7.75 million cap hit who actually is a $1.5 million player. So that's good for the rebuild. Emil Andre's emergence, while very good in the short term for the quality of the second pair, is also very good for the rebuild because it means you have another top 4 defenseman you don't have to go out and draft or trade for or sign or whatever. That's good for the rebuild. And tonight, the emergence of Aleksei Kolosov, also good for the rebuild. Young guys. Tyson Foerster scores a goal. He looks like he's putting it together. These are all positive developments for the rebuild. Would it be nice if they had a top 5 pick? Hell yeah, of course it would. But at least it's not like this team is getting dragged to the 15th pick by Travis Konechny and Travis Sanheim, and that's it. It's young guys who are stepping up and exceeding expectations, or at least starting to meet expectations, and that's a good thing.
That's like we said going into last year. Like if they do overperform, and it's simply, Carter Hart has a 920, and Sean Couturier is a Selke contender again. Like that really doesn't do anything for us.
Exactly.
That hurts us. But if it's the young guys, if it's Bobby Brink and Tyson Foerster, they're kind of figuring it out. Like that's great. And everyone else you mentioned.
And also there's Matvei Michkov, who is looking like he is the prince that was promised.
3 wins in overtime alone. Leading all.
There's that. He's only the most important person to the success of the Flyers rebuild.
Leading all rookies in goals and points. I'm pretty sure that's good.
It's not bad.
All right. And from VO Noob. Yeah. Let's effing go. Fun times is better than tanking. I feel you.
It's certainly more fun for us.
Yeah, listen, we've always said we're going to be selfish. As much as Charlie and I were both like, no, you need to tear this down. We do have to watch every game, and we are going to be selfish in that way. I had a much better time tonight than if they had lost 3-0.
Indeed.
That's just, for my own personal sanity, it's not bad.
Yeah.
All right, and finally from Corey, let's see here. Saros, Shesterkin, Binnington. It would be nice to face an average goalie.
Yeah, and then Bob's coming up next.
Yeah, Bob. The schedule, they've been doing well against, not the toughest schedule. Like, again, Saros good, Nashville bad. But they've been doing pretty well against some good goaltenders.
I guess on Saturday they'll get Swayman, and he has been very good this year.
Yeah,
so.
Good goalie having a horrible year.
Not
hasn't been going well for him.
Bob will be the last one. Unless maybe they go with the backup. Who knows?
Getting outplayed by Eunice Corpusalo right now.
Maybe we will get lucky. But it looks like we're coming up on the end of the show, William.
We are, and I would really like to thank everyone watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show. We did the Jiricek stuff in pregame. Honestly, we clipped it. It's on YouTube. Watch our Jiricek takes there.
Yeah, I talked about what I had heard about where the Flyers were in that. So do believe that they were involved. My understanding is that, at least at the start of talks, it seemed like Columbus was asking for things the Flyers were not willing to part with. and it just didn't seem like talks were going anywhere. But the Flyers did have interest in Jiricek. I know that.
We'll find out on Wednesday, which is our next show, about the four nations, but apparently we won't find out about the U.S. and Canada until after the show. We know it's going to be Risto in Finland.
Risto's making the team.
He's going to make Finland.
I mean, even if he was playing poorly, he was going to be making the team. Now he's actually playing well. So now he's a no-brainer.
TK and Sanheim, the Travi. One, both, neither?
Good question. I think both have a really good case, to be totally honest with you. However, if I had to bet on one of the two making the team, I would probably bet on Sanheim. It just seems like the winds are blowing in that direction a little bit more. Their defensive depth isn't quite as strong as their depth up front, although both are very strong. Look, it'd be real cool if they both went.
It would.
And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Konechny keeps doing really great things out there.
Listen, we made all the deal in the world about the Michkov goal tonight. That play that TK made to set it up,
it's an incredible play.
Was awesome.
Incredible play.
Absolutely freaking
He's falling
awesome.
Down, passes that. It's just a great play.
On the, I think it was 3-4 days ago, NHL.com put out Team Canada projected roster. TK on it, Sanheim not.
Interesting. Okay.
But it's do they really need Dougie Hamilton? It seems like they have enough offense, if they're going to look for something different. But we'll see. We'll all find out together on Wednesday. That is the next time we'll be live. We have the next couple of days off. Happy holidays to everybody. Hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving. Head over to... just go to allphly.com, hit the merch thing, and it'll take you right to our store. Buy a bunch of stuff. It's all 30% off.
Good.
Make us look good. Yeah, man. Hockey, the niche sport, it has the fewest fans. Let's have the most sales, and then Charlie and I will never get fired. That's really what we're worried about here.
I want more friends, because this has happened a couple times, and I always smile when it does. I've had friends send me pictures of people at games wearing the Mad Russian shirt.
I love that.
I love that. I want more of that.
I want more of that. Make it happen for us. All right. That is all the time we have on the PHLY Flyers postgame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you're following us right here on YouTube. Hit that reminder bell. Never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. That's basically where I do all my tweeting now. So for my thoughts, which obviously you can't get enough of, follow us there. And the podcast. Yeah, follow that wherever you get podcasts. Just search PHLY Flyers.
Also, thank you for boosting those likes. 145.
Well, way to go.
Love that. You came through, gang. Well done.
All right. Until Wednesday, I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.